All right, gonna start it in three, two, one. Hey everyone, or YouTube, or whoever's watching this. My name is Mono. I'm the head coach at Robert Morris University, and today I'm going to be reviewing Afreeca versus KT live on my stream, twitch.tv/monolol, or MON0lol. Basically, I've been doing these a little bit, and I'm gonna start uploading them to YouTube. So we're gonna go over game one of Afreeca versus KT. This is being played on 8.11. And hold on, I need to get all my shit set up. So okay. So for this game I'm basically just going to be reviewing just stuff that I'm kind of curious in looking at for the meta. So this is just all kind of done blind. So as far as bans go, Talia red side is becoming fairly stable. It is fairly first pickable on blue side, and yeah, I mean, I don't know how strong of a first pick it is because it's super blindable. Because like basically what you have in the meta right now is things that are incredibly flexible in terms of picking, and so Camille's a really good pick because you could take her top, uh, you could take her jungle, and dare I say you could probably take her AD if you could figure it out. With her, it's probably not as ideal because you would probably want a ranged matchup, and that's been the LCK meta. So that's probably going to go jungle because of how strong of a level 2 jungler she is. KT's going to decide to stay with Swain Trundle here, which is fairly standard. Or, like, that's been a pretty stable first pick. Swain and Trundle have really good synergy. If Trundle pillars, there's a small window of opportunity for Swain to yoink them. So I think that's a really strong combo, and I've seen Swain go bottom lane. I think FlyQuest Academy did that and sent a Mordekaiser mid. I don't know how viable it is. But I do want to bring attention to the jungle bans. Essentially, Nocturne has been one of the emerging priority junglers on this patch, mainly because of how strong of a mid game he has, and he's been getting a lot of quality of life buffs as well as really nice clear speeds. And lethal tempo is really strong in him right now, so I think he's one of the Koreans think it's one of the strongest emerging junglers right now. So Shen has also been a huge priority for Afreeca from the games that they've played. In their last series, they played. Last series, they flexed its support and top, and I actually think this Mordekaiser pick is pretty interesting regarding the state of their draft right now. So they have Shen Darius, and Darius is also one of those emerging flex picks where you go top, you can go bottom, you can go mid, and yeah, essentially that could be their bot lane right there, depending on what they want to focus on. I'm still trying to kind of understand the meta right now, so in terms of knowing why everyone's picking Darius, I'm pretty sure it's just because he gives bruisers a really hard time, and I mean, he is a bruiser himself. He's pretty strong in solo queue as well, so I think he's just in a really good spot. The Mordekaiser is pretty interesting. I would have imagined that they would have wanted to grab that earlier because I don't think Swain's a huge priority for any LCK teams right now. I think this is the first time we've seen Swain in a while. Like, because you could have grabbed Shen Mord right there and that would have been your bot, so maybe they want to hide it. I think Mord has been one of the strongest. I think he's just exclusively AD, but we did see him mid in NA Academy. I think this Mundo ban's pretty silly considering that Afreeca picked Darius, so unless they don't want Darius going top, I think that's why they banned Mundo, because Mundo is also one of the strongest picks if you can't pick anything to punish him. So they must be wanting to send Darius bot with Shen. Or they're seeing what they pick here. So Thresh Mord's a pretty solid combo. Actually, Deft and Mata were playing this in solo queue. I watched a VOD of them playing this. So last time Afreeca played in the LCK was against SKT, and they did pick Aatrox. And in an interview, Keen said that there was nothing that really beats Aatrox, so that's what I'm assuming they're going for here. And I also think KT in this draft, they're just flexing top laners, so it was good on Afreeca to ban them out. because I think Swain's going mid, and then they have their bot lane and their jungler. So the one thing I'm pretty curious about is that Trundle isn't really gonna... Ooh, a Nivea. Well, I don't think Trundle is gonna really have... Trundle can ult people. You don't really pick Trundle because you ult. Trundle's fine in any standard jungle matchup, in my opinion. Sup, Rui? I don't know if I said hello or not. I just saw you in chat. But yeah, this Nivea pick's pretty interesting. Ooh, the Malphite. Okay. Malphite probably has a decent matchup in the Aatrox. One thing I saw earlier was that Aatrox, this is from Apocalypse. I'm probably pronouncing that very incorrectly. He's the he was the top lane positional coach for Liquid, and he tweets about like top lane matchups all the time. And he said building a Bramble Vest against Aatrox is pretty useless, considering that he could just lifesteal everything that he wants. So I'm not sure how if KTF considered that, but I'm pretty sure they're just picking Malphite to slow down Keen. And I like the Anivia here because it's actually pretty decent into it's pretty decent for zoning. And of course I'm gonna bring Twisted Treeline into this because I am who I am. And I've been upset. What the? That's funny. I've been obsessed with Treeline lately. Alright, let's just hop to the beginning. But basically, Anivia gives Mordekaiser a super hard time because of the wall. Basically, Mordekaiser's greatest weakness is that his move speed's super low, so any champions that can create space really effectively have a really difficult time. They have a really difficult time against... Wait, hold on, let me restart that. Mordekaiser has a hard time getting onto champs that can make space. Or like Anivia with her wall, with her ult, with her Q, all that shit. And, I mean, the same applies to a lot of like the other shit that KT's playing into Afreeca. But I like the Anivia because it also can siege relatively well. They have all melees except for Anivia. And Anivia can make space with her abilities. So this is what UCal's running on Swain. And I wonder if he started Corrupting Pot. Because on 8-9 I was watching Korean solo queue and he was playing against a Vlad. And he either ran, I think he ran Airy. But he ran Corrupting Pot into Dark Seal. And judging by this, it looks like he's just kind of going for the lane sustain. Because as someone who's played a decent amount of Swain recently, Swain's biggest issue early on is that he's really weak until he's level 5 and he gets wave clear. And all of his spells pretty much aren't very effective and he doesn't really need the CDR. So, yeah, and he did go Corrupting Pot, so that's interesting. He went Airy in the video I watched, but I think that's because he was against Vlad. And nothing too fancy in terms of the start. They have your typical level 1 wards, and they matched with those wards. Camille doing a buff to buff start. Nothing too unusual here, except basically whenever you're playing Mordekaiser bot, you're gonna want to. You kind of need the level 2 in order to gain priority when you're playing. You're back. GG easy. Yeah, basically with Mordekaiser, you want to get priority as soon as you can, because if you don't get the level 2, then you end up just getting pushed in. Alright, so this is interesting. Shouldn't have jungle pathing here. Ooh, Daniel, pay attention. So with these level 1 wards, basically Trundle's skipping his blue, which is interesting. They did run the risk of having that stolen, but I guess they just wanted to scout for where Trundle was starting, or if you're Afreeca. But this is a fairly standard route from Trundle, but it looks like he's going into this, into Raptors, while Camille is invading his opposite side. Did Trundle get spotted? I think they ping right now where he's going to be, and it looks like they actually missed the ping because the ward timer goes out, so he played around that ward, I'm pretty sure. Or I might be wrong. But he's going to steal Raptors here, while Spirit's actually taking a pretty big L in terms of tempo. But it looks like Spirit's just gonna clear Krugs. Not getting a Scuttle Crab here can be a little bit costly because you're gonna have a later respawn timer. So I think this is actually a fairly good move for Trundle. And well, yeah, I mean they knew where he was, but I don't think they anticipated his clear that he's going right now. But my only issue is that if they're not able to time the Camille spawn, yeah, and Yukal just got the thingy, the Dark Seal. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is that if they delay the top lane Scuttle timer and aren't ready, then that's what's going to be like the determining factor here. So I guess maybe they are anticipating it if he isn't at blue, and that's why Spirit went that way. I guess most teams are ready for the level 2 gank from Camille. That's kind of like a solo queue thing to be playing against it. But I do like her taking Krugs though. I wasn't too sure on it initially, but taking Krugs basically means that that you're guaranteed the level 3 without losing much control. So like Trundle's gonna go right to Krugs and they're just gonna be gone. But he'll have the Raptors up. Here we go, bot lane. Nope, just kidding. Yeah, I don't know how well Shen can do into Mordekaiser. He can't really out damage because Mordekaiser's always gonna be always gonna have a shield. Keen's fine. But Mordekaiser's always gonna have his shield up, and any sort of trading will kind of inhibit the capabilities here. Alright, hold on. Sorry. Isn't there a shorthand command for speed on YouTube? I should probably look that up. Alright, let's watch this. So they're fighting now. I think they land a taunt. Yep, and this is what Mordekaiser excels at. Wow, they sent everyone. Oh man, that's not worth for Afreeca at all. Even if you save Tucson and you let Yukal get a kill, Keen completing his teleport loses him a fair amount. He loses that whole entire wave that's stacking. I think this is really poorly played by Def. They almost pulled it off. So yeah, he must have gotten taunted. Let's see, hold on. So he got taunted here. And right now he's spam clicking the lantern. Gets it off and gets the heal off. Because keep in mind he's going Ignite. And he gets the heal off with W because Mordekaiser maxes W. But Darius kills him with the auto reset with the W. Or Darius W, I should say. I'm actually gonna put my headset away because I don't really need it right now. Feels much better. But essentially they were anticipating the all-in and then Camille went topside and kind of lost the pressure in terms of bot lane snowball potential because now Darius dies here. And if Camille was there the whole time, they would have been fine. And I think she has to E. I think she E's over the wall to get over. So I think Spirit kind of messed up there or didn't coordinate with bot too well, but I think he was just more focused on tracking Trundle. But Keen completing his teleport's pretty bad, while Kuro completing it is fairly decent because he gets Yukal's flash. And Yukal's rushing boots straight up, which is interesting. Also, is this in best quality? Yeah, it is. Yes, Camille should have predicted the Trundle. Here, I'll drag this on. Camille should have predicted the Trundle invade or Anivia checks it. Camille path straight to Krugs and sets Vision Orb earlier. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention too much to where it was where bot lane was positioned when Camille was there earlier. So that's a good note to take too. Basically, with Mord getting behind, like, it's not as bad because he manages to trade with Darius. I don't know who got the kill. Both supports got the kill. So that was actually fairly even. And power advantage, I think, without just from thinking of it, power advantage goes to Mordekaiser because he gets a blasting one and the second upgrade. While Darius more spikes at the full item completion. I mean, Rallies is an earlier power spike. That's like one of the good things I've noticed about Mord and what I've kind of learned from spamming Mordekaiser for the past couple days is that, like, if you fall behind on Mord, it sucks. But if you stay ahead, then you don't really fall off unless your team can't play around you. So if your team can play around you and you know how to play Mordekaiser well, then you're fine. So I actually think Spirit... No, Spirit's fine. Never mind. They're anticipating... I think KT want to dive. Actually, I don't know if KT want to dive. Because they're setting up Vision red side. I think they just want to take Dragon. Or they probably want to take Dragon and then snowball that into the bot lane. Oh, excuse me. Let's speed this up a bit. Or actually, it's probably more likely that Camille wants to make a play bot, because they're keeping top an island and mid is just wave clearing, so the only play that can be made is probably top. Or, excuse me, the only play for Afreeca that can be made is bottom. So, I'm pretty sure that's why. Because, like, I mean, that's not necessarily true. Like, I think KT can make a play around mid, and technically Afreeca can play... Like Kuro's and Nivea can play off of a gank, because Swain doesn't have flash yet. But I think the best play here is for oh Jesus, CPU's nuts. Let me close shit. Okay, yeah. So they do take the dragon, and so they were anticipating a play bot for KT. Also, Def's so good at microing the dragon, dude. One of the hardest parts about Mordekaiser is that whenever you get your little ghost boy, it's so hard to control it. Like, every time I do get the ghost, it's nothing really happens. Like, yeah, I'll get damage sometimes, and if I get the dragon, then, like, yeah, I'll be able to do that. But Def, like, micros him like he's moving. Like, he does, like, the stutter steps and shit. Sorry about that. Just trying to relieve my computer a bit. Alright. But basically that dragon take and just scaling up has allowed Mordekaiser to get rallies, which is his first power spike. I think it's one of the better power spikes to play around. It's just kind of difficult to play Mord sometimes because you need a lot of other tools in order to succeed. Matan Thresh, that's a good start. But I think ultimately what makes their comp pretty good is that they have Swain. And so they have a lot of pick with Thresh, Swain, and Trundle. And then Mordekaiser and Malphite to follow up. So I think that's like a somewhat decently fleshed out comp. It's just more about playing into Darius, Camille, Aatrox, all of them, honestly. Like, Shen's a really good disengage option that they have. And so, right now, if you're Mordekaiser Thresh, there's two things you really need to be focused on. The first is making sure you're safe bot lane, because now they're going to be pushing. And so this looks like it's a 3v3 that's going to happen, possibly. Oh, that was messed up. Olivia TP. They kill the Mord. That's not what they want. The top lane was running away from each other to teleport, and that was just really, really sloppy. It seems like they're just using bot lane or mid lane's teleport just to match pressure bot, and they want to do that with top 2. So these compositions are entirely being played around bot. Also, I said Darius is going Cleaver and he's going Trinity Force, which is also a tree line thing. God damn it, I'm obsessed with Twisted Tree Line. Alright. I actually think Mata messes up here pretty badly. And I imagine this was a communication error between Score and Mata, or bot lane in general. Because, like, right here, Mata throws the lantern. Fuck your tree line. Also, Turb, I met Divine today. On the tree line. But regardless, yeah, Mata messes up with Score, and Score doesn't really do much, and then Death gets yoinked. Oh, wowee. So, I think this is a pretty big L on Mata's part, because right now, you're entirely playing around bot lane. And although I don't think there's a huge issue with... I mean, I don't know. Darius is snowballing now. Oh, is Triforce Darius everywhere? Oh, I didn't know that. Makes sense. I mean, I don't know if you'd want to take him top lane. Or Triforce Darius top lane. I mean, it's dependent who you're up against. But if you're up against a tank, then Cleaver's but you're going to want to go. And this right here is essentially what they're trying to achieve. They want Thresh, Swain, and Mord to make picks. Actually, just all of them to make picks, and then Smeb for initiation if they need it. KT's really good at playing pick compositions. That's kind of how they've always played. Not strictly for picks, but for early game. Which is why I'm surprised that they're not as strong right now. Yeah, he is more common bot now. Shut up, turd. Static Shiv Triforce Garen. Oh, she swallowed a booger. That was gross. Alright. But essentially you're delaying the power spike for Garen. Or Garen. God damn it. You're delaying the power spike, or like allowing Darius to hit his one item power spike in a scenario where you could have had an accelerated pace bot lane with the bot lane tower taken. However, they're ready for this Infernal. And I don't know if Afreeca are. And they're pulling it out. I think they could totally win this. Oh, Camille steals it! Oh man, you can't miss that. I think KT still win this? Oh. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll slow down the replay. Damn, dude. KT just took him. Yeah, I think that's game. Not actually, but that was such a hard L. Alright. So they're rushing this dragon, which is, it's important because one, it's infernal, and two, you need it for Mordekaiser to get the dragon boy and then accelerate it down bot. Or mid, I'm not really sure. Or Herald. Those are your options. I slowed it down, right? Yeah. You know what? I'll slow it down even more. Alright, so Spirit steals it, and all that Afreeca want to do at this point is just delay it because Anivia's all the way down here. And so they just want to stall for time until Anivia and I think Aatrox is up here. Yeah, Aatrox is like right up here. And so Tucson ults on Shen and gets a pretty huge taunt off, and this basically just allows time for the Afreeca carries to get there because they were late for the dragon. So he saves ult for Camille, and so Camille goes down, but does give enough time for Kuro to show up. And they finish off the Swain. I'm surprised he didn't stopwatch unless he stopwatched earlier in the other fight. And so Kraber does a really good job at staying alive here. And also the flash on Keen is pretty important too. Now this was a really good play. And this is pretty silly when you look at it. Not silly, but like this was a misplay by Deft and Mata for not being able to finish off Tucson earlier. And actually, this is pretty important. Watch Mordekaiser right here. He only gets an E off on Keen, and the shot call is probably to finish these guys off, but Tucson somehow stays alive. But because Tucson actually kites up this way, it forces Deft and Mata and the front line to shift over towards the choke point. And if you're a Nivea, all you gotta do is just focus this choke point here. And you're a Nivea, you get your AoE shit up. And I'm pretty sure her ult's on cooldown right now, but Kramer makes a really hyphy play right here and actually completely swings the fight into Afreeca's favor. So that was really good team fighting by Tucson. I think, like, if Tucson was just a tiny bit better, test those keys. But yeah, if Tucson was a tiny bit better, like in terms of going up against the best like teams in the world, and he has. But I mean, like, I guess you can look at the finals, the Korean finals, to reference that. Tucson's just a tad bit underperforming sometimes. So this is really good by Afreeca. They trade turrets. They don't get first turret, but they know they're gonna lose it, so they trade towers top. It also puts Aatrox in the extended lane, and I'm just gonna assume that that's what you want of your Aatrox. I still don't really know the matchup too well. And also Aatrox is gonna change, so this also accelerates or you know what, I'm starting to use that word so often, it's like a buzzword. But basically, KT now can funnel their bot lane up here to take Herald, which they fumble. Because they have first turret, and Aatrox does have TP, so yep, and there you go. So they might not be able to finish this because of the teleport. So this is also another good play by Afreeca, or at least good setup. And they're just delaying it, and then they get the wall up. The fucking Herald's chasing. But I thought that was like a really good play on Afreeca, because then they also grab the turret and get the rift, and Jesus Christ. Those keys don't work for speed up Rui, but thanks for the suggestion. Alright, here comes the Shed Taunt. Ooh, really good play by Smeb to stop it. And now they're split. Spirit's gonna die. 1-for-1. Score is gonna die? Oh, they actually get Keen. Oh, this is a KT win. This is a big KT win. Someone please kill the Rift Herald. Jesus Christ. It took forever. Okay, so I think Smeb basically just won the fight. Like, this is actually a really close game. I want to see what Deft was doing. Where's Deft? Okay, Deft's kind of in an awkward position. So I think, oops. So if you're Deft right here, or if you're Keen right here, so the Shen'll comes early, and Keen really wants to get onto Deft and Yukal right here, but Smeb kind of cock blocks it with an ult, and so that actually stops a lot of the engage onto the backline. And so basically they have a huge barrier right here. Or KT has a huge barrier right here of not to score in Smeb, which kind of prevents like the main backline threats that Afreeca have onto getting onto Deft and UCal, which are what KT want to protect. But they do let Camille jump on from the bottom side since it's like 3v2 down here, and it's 3v2 up here. And so this is probably the optimal setup you want to get if you're Afreeca, because then it allows you to focus one at a time, and especially if Camille's super squishy and Deft has his shields up and shit. This will allow what you want. Or, excuse me, hold on, I'm sorry, I messed that up. So, Deft is getting engaged on Camille. He can duel Camille because of the shields, even though she does a lot of damage, but it basically, no one's really peeling for Deft besides UCal, and so he can't really get a whole lot off. But UCal basically can go right through Kuro and Kramer. And that's what he does. And he can't finish off Kramer, but they secure the Rift Herald, and that's pretty big considering that Afreeca had a lead. And I don't know, in my opinion right now, like, Deft's in a really bad spot in terms of scaling compared to Darius, but Darius also died that fight with a kill, I believe. I think he got one kill, but essentially Deft is getting... KT are coming out of ahead even if Deft is behind, which Deft's kind of like their main focus. Also Thresh with 4 kills, lol. Okay. So at this point Camille's about to hit her power spike, which is huge, and Anivia's at her 2 items, which is arguably, that's probably the most important one. So I think Afreeca have gotten to this point of the game without taking huge losses besides the first turret, and even managed to steal a dragon away. Did Aatrox build a fucking banner? He better have not. Which would be great against Smeb, but no, okay, he didn't. It was Shen. I was gonna say. So let's see. Speed back up again. So at this point, next dragon's in 30, which is an Infernal. KT have this set up again. And it'll be a real damn shame if they aren't able to accelerate this because they couldn't get the Infernal Dragon because it got stolen. But they're dropping Rift Herald here, which is smart. You can either take mid tower here or just ditch it and go straight bottom to the dragon, which is up in 8. And KT are fairly... Okay. I don't think the rotation could have made a difference in this, because it looks like Afreeca were grouped up anticipating it, which they should be. Looks like they're gonna fight here. Okay, they're gonna give this up and trade for mid turret because they already got an Infernal. That's a really good macro call there, and if you can wall. Yep, great call. So they're just gonna trade mid turrets, which that's pretty important. Like if you're Afreeca, you want to stall this out as long as you can because you got an Anivia. And if you're Anivia, your primary goal is to keep that mid turret as long as you can, because that will enable you to stall because you'll have better wave clear. Yeah, don't worry, Rui. I'll go over anything that's important in slower speed, but I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, so they finally take the turret. And in this meta at Anivia, it's pretty good. Or for an Anivia at that amount of time, that was really good. That was such a good dodge, but if King can get his passive off, he's fine. Oh my god, this Anivia is doing work. I think they lose it. Oh, Darius is coming. Oh, God, Kuro, you're so goddamn good. Wow, what a clean ace. Not clean ace, but that was good. The micro on the... Dude, yes, I know. Deft is so good at the microing the dragon, but it's really proven to not have done anything so far. Alright, so let's look at this fight. So Swain's recalling with TP. Malphite's TP also... He doesn't need a teleport, but the big part is that I think that... And I guess Afreeca take this thinking it's just a pick, but Darius is top lane with no teleport, and that's pretty big. So they catch score out here, and hold on, wait, look at this dodge. Watch this dodge from Kuro. Whoop! That saved the fight completely because that would have taken away so much damage. But it was a good ult from Smeb. But the fact that this Anivia ult is going for so long is pretty big for... It's a pretty big deal in how this fight ended up happening. And so now it's finally enough time for Kramer to get down and finishes him off for the ace. So that would have been a good fight if they could have at least stopped Kuro, but they didn't. Because Kuro's ult there just pretty much won them the game off of that. Because I'm pretty sure Afreeca are now just ahead in terms of items. Like, the gold's pretty close. It's only 2k, but Anivia's just kind of gotten to the point where she's outscaling everyone on the map. Kuro's really respecting. The fight potential. I already did try those keys. It didn't work. I think maybe it's this. Nope, that's skip 10 seconds ahead. Well, I think maybe it's plus minus. Alright, it's not plus minus. Whatever, I'll figure it out. I know there's a shorthand. So now Baron's pretty much the contested ability. All flashes will be up except for Keen as of now. This Baron is pretty tricky for KT because they can't really push with Malphite. They can shove mid, but Anivia's going to be able to shove whatever they have back, so it's going to have to be a really quick reaction and what KT need to do is make a good pick here. Or they can wait for Dragon to respawn and then take that to Baron. But Afreeca have been contesting those. Shift tilde. I'll figure it out for you. Don't worry about it. Let me just finish this. It's kind of interesting that UCAL went Banshees third. It has to be just for, like, I mean, obviously it's for CC and Spell Shield, but normally we haven't been seeing too much Banshees Veil. And if you went with Morello here, which is interesting considering that KT are relatively tanky, but they also have a lot of healing, so that makes more sense. Okay, so they are going to go for the dragon here. And get a grab on the Tucson. Shift. Hey, there we go. Alright, thanks, buddy. Alright, so okay, so... Hold on. Let's start from here. Okay, so I think Kuro does a good job here walling everyone off. But that was a really good hook onto Keen. Spirit steals another dragon. And they all kind of stockpile here. Yeah, Kramer's just right in the deep. Oh, he's gonna get... Oh no, he ulted the wrong person. He meant to ult Mata. I mean, he's dead, but... Wow, that fight was a mess. Yep, the Darius got too strong. Oh dear. Oh, he's trapped though. Here's Keen. Damn, son. And that's Baron. It's Baron and then mid turret, it looks like. Alright, so there's a lot to watch in this fight. So the ult gets blown on Keen and Tucson here, who lands everything onto Deft. And then a pretty good Smeb ult to mitigate that knockup. But Deft isn't able to get enough. He doesn't have enough time to get all the damage off. In my opinion, Zhonya's would have at least helped him here, but I don't think he has time to build that. And he's probably building that right now. But also going top lane, they're focusing Kuro really well. He has to burn his stopwatch. And that was a good play by UCal. It's actually interesting because Deft went from being one of the better performing AD carries in the LCK to probably one of the least reliable ones. I mean, that's not fundamentally true. But he hasn't... I don't think he's had a great start this year. I mean, 069, like... I guess, like, it's just the same problems Deft has been having all year. Or his whole career. Where he's very inconsistent. But at that point, the Baron's gone. And then it looks like they just kind of end. Yeah, the Nivea Flash was good. Holy... Yes, I mean, actually, swaying into the Nivea is actually a pretty smart pick late game. Also, this Nivea has 13 assists, which is awful. If you have at least like half of those onto as kills, she's in good shape. Darius has banner. Of course he does. And look at that. Deft is getting Zhonya's. Okay. Okay, so Smeb gets kind of caught off on the side. He goes, watch out for my gargoyle stone plate. And this is such a good choke for Afreeca to be fighting in. Smeb is the ult away. Oh shit, they're fighting. Alright. Alright, so it looks like they catch Thresh out here. I mean, this is fairly... Now I'm just kind of narrating. At this point, like, the game's over. All they gotta do is just win. And yep, that's the game. So, in my opinion, I think KT played this relatively poorly in terms of Deft's positioning. I think Afreeca had a really good macro, which is what disabled a lot of Deft's... Disabled a lot of... Or enabled Deft to make a lot of errors. The dunk denial. Yeah, that was unfortunate. But that was a really well played game by Afreeca, in my opinion. And I also think KT was just a little bit short in actually achieving what they wanted to do. I also don't think the Trundle really did anything. What they needed was a lot of lockdown onto a Nivea, and they didn't really have any. And Smeb spent most of his time disengaging the Aatrox Shen ult combo. Croatia beat Nigeria? Oh, okay, nice. All right, but that's game 1. Let's get to game 2. All right, and I'm pretty sure NALCS starts soon, so I'm gonna try to